The massive screen in Seoul Defense Command flickered to life at exactly 14:32 local time. Commander Tae-ho was drinking his third cup of coffee when the alarm bells started ringing throughout the facility. Officers rushed to their stations as an impossible signal flooded Earth's communication networks. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," reported Lieutenant Min-ki, his voice shaking slightly. "It's not from any Earth satellite." Tae-ho set down his coffee and walked to the main console. The signal was unlike anything they had ever detected. Complex mathematical patterns mixed with what appeared to be star maps and technological blueprints. Dr. Mi-young, Earth's best language expert, worked frantically at her computer trying to decode the message. "Commander, this is definitely alien," she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. "The signal originates from outside our solar system. Give me 30 minutes and I can translate the basic meaning." President Dongwoo arrived within the hour, his security team filling the command center. He was a calm man who rarely showed emotion, but today his hands trembled as he watched the alien symbols scroll across the screens. "What do they want?" he asked quietly. Dr. Mi-young looked up from her work. "It's a standard message, sir. They call themselves the Galactic Dominion. They're informing us that Earth now falls under their authority. We have 1 year to comply with their rules or face what they call pacification protocols." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what pacification meant in military terms. 3 days later, a ship appeared in Earth's orbit. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, shaped like a crystal flower but large enough to hold a small city. The alien vessel made no aggressive moves. Instead, it sent a simple message requesting diplomatic contact. Captain Hee-jin of the Space Defense Force volunteered to lead the first meeting. She had spent 15 years in space and was not easily frightened. But as her shuttle approached the alien ship, she felt her heart racing. The aliens who greeted her were tall and graceful, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Their leader introduced himself as Ambassador Veltar of the Caridian species. He spoke perfect English, which surprised Hye-jin until she realized they had been monitoring Earth's communications for years. "Your species shows promise," Veltar said as they walked through corridors that seemed to be made of living light. "But you are young and dangerous. The Dominion has brought peace to 10,000 worlds. We offer the same to Earth." "And if we refuse?" Hye-jin asked. Veltar's expression did not change. "Then you will be pacified. It is not personal, Captain. It is simply how the galaxy maintains order." The meeting lasted 6 hours. Hye-jin asked many questions about alien technology and culture. Veltar answered some and ignored others. But Hye-jin was not just making conversation. She was recording everything. Every detail of their ship, their weapons, their technology, and most importantly, their attitude toward humanity. When she returned to Earth, Hye-jin made her report to Commander Tae-ho and President Dongwoo. The aliens viewed humans as children playing with dangerous toys. They had no respect for human intelligence or capabilities. This was both an insult and an opportunity. "They think we're primitive," Hye-jin explained. "They've done this to thousands of other species. Show up, demand surrender, and either accept submission or destroy the planet. It's routine for them." President Dongwoo studied the recordings of alien technology that Hye-jin had secretly made. The weapons were advanced but not impossible to understand. The ships were fast, but they had weaknesses. Most importantly, the aliens were overconfident. "How long do we have?" he asked. "They said 1 year, but I think they'll give us longer, if we seem to be considering their offer," Tae-ho replied. "They're not in a hurry. This is just another Tuesday for them." Over the following weeks, Earth's governments engaged in public debates about the alien ultimatum. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others called for resistance, but these debates were mostly for show. In secret, President Dongwoo had already made his decision. In hidden facilities around the world, Earth's best scientists began studying every piece of alien technology they had recorded. Engineer Jae-sung led teams that worked day and night to understand alien propulsion systems. Dr. Yoon-ho focused on their weapons technology. Everything was analyzed, tested, and improved upon. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare, and they had shown humans exactly what they were up against. More importantly, they had united the human race against a common enemy. Commander Tae-ho stood in his office 3 months after first contact, looking at progress reports from around the globe. Humanity was changing. Old enemies were becoming allies. Resources that had been wasted on Earth conflicts were now focused on survival. "They think they gave us an ultimatum," he said to Captain Hyojin. "But what they really gave us was a deadline." The alien ship remained in orbit, patient and silent. Ambassador Veltar occasionally sent messages asking about Earth's decision. President Dongwu always replied that humanity needed more time to consider such an important choice. The aliens were happy to wait. After all, what could a primitive species like humanity possibly do in such a short time? They were about to find out. 2 years had passed since the alien ultimatum, and Earth had gone completely silent. No more radio signals reached space. No more satellite communications leaked into the void. To the watching Caridian ship in orbit, humanity appeared to have given up or died out naturally. Ambassador Veltar was not concerned. This happened sometimes with primitive species. They either accepted their fate quietly or destroyed themselves, in panic. Either way, the problem solved itself without Dominion intervention. But deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Engineer Jae-sung guided his submarine through massive underwater construction sites. Thousands of workers in pressure suits assembled strange new ships in caverns that had been carved from the ocean floor. These vessels looked nothing like human spacecraft. They were sleek and angular, built using technology that had taken human scientists months to understand and improve. "How many are ready?" asked Admiral Kyung-min as he toured the facility. 47 combat ships and 12 carriers, Jae-sung replied proudly. "Each one is faster and stronger than anything we've ever built before. The aliens gave us the blueprints when they showed off during that first meeting." Similar construction was happening everywhere on Earth, but always hidden. In abandoned mines in Australia, Dr. Sora's teams built weapons that could punch through alien shields. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, Captain Yujin trained soldiers in combat techniques designed specifically for fighting Caridians. The alien technology had been a gift, though Veltar did not know it. Every system Captain Hyojin had recorded during her visit to their ship had been studied and reverse-engineered, but humans did not simply copy what they found. They made it better. Dr. Yunho worked in a laboratory hidden beneath the Swiss Alps. She had discovered that alien energy weapons had a critical flaw. They were designed to work against typical alien shields, but human engineers had developed something different. Human shields could actually absorb alien weapon energy and redirect it back at the attackers. "It's like they've never fought anyone who fought back intelligently," she explained to her research team. "Every alien species they conquered must have used similar technology. They've never had to adapt." President Dongwu visited these secret facilities regularly. The man who had once led a divided world now commanded a united species. Old rivals worked together. Former enemies shared resources. Humanity had found something it had never truly had before: a single purpose. In orbit around Mars, Commander Tae-ho oversaw the construction of humanity's first real space fleet. The ships were built inside hollowed-out asteroids to hide them from alien sensors. Each vessel contained technology that would have seemed impossible just 3 years earlier. "The reconnaissance missions are complete," reported Captain Bitna, as she returned from deep space. "I've mapped 17 Caridian worlds and identified their main supply routes. Their fleets are spread thin across the galaxy. They never expect resistance." This intelligence was crucial. Bitna had spent months in a specially designed stealth ship, studying alien worlds and military bases. The Caridians were powerful, but they were also lazy. Centuries of easy conquests had made them careless. Communications Officer Jiwoo had perhaps the most important job of all. She monitored every alien transmission, learning their military codes and communication protocols. The aliens used the same frequencies they always had. never changing their security because no conquered species had ever been capable of breaking their codes. They still think we're dead or hiding, Jiwoo reported during a staff meeting. Ambassador Veltar sends regular reports to the Dominion saying Earth is no longer a concern. They've marked us as a resolved situation. This was exactly what humanity wanted. Let the aliens think Earth was finished. Let them believe humanity had given up. Meanwhile, every day brought new advances in human technology and military capability. Pilot Nari tested the latest fighter craft in the asteroid belt. These small ships were incredibly fast and could operate in ways that alien pilots had never encountered. Human pilots trained differently than aliens. They were more aggressive, more creative, and more willing to take risks. The alien ships are built for formation fighting, Nari explained after her latest test flight. They move in predictable patterns and rely on superior firepower. But our ships can break those formations and attack from angles they don't expect. Strategist Wu Jin spent his time studying alien military history, learning how the Dominion had conquered other species. The pattern was always the same: show overwhelming force, demand surrender, and destroy any resistance quickly. The aliens had never faced a species that used their own time of apparent defeat to prepare for war. Back on Earth, the public believed their governments were still negotiating with the aliens. News reports spoke of ongoing diplomatic talks and cultural exchanges, but these were all lies designed to keep humanity calm while the real work continued in secret. In reality, Earth had become a single massive military-industrial complex. Factories that once made cars now produced spacecraft components. Scientists who had studied climate change now focused on alien technology. Teachers who had educated children now trained soldiers. Commander Taeho stood in his command center, watching progress reports from around the solar system. In 18 months, humanity had achieved technological advances that should have taken decades. They had united their species, militarized their civilization, and prepared for a war that most humans did not even know was coming. The alien ship still floated peacefully in Earth's orbit, its crew confident that another primitive species had accepted their fate. They had no idea that below them humanity was sharpening its teeth. Ambassador Veltar stood on the bridge of his command ship, looking down at the blue planet that had been silent for 3 years. The Dominion Council had finally grown impatient with Earth's lack of response. Orders had arrived that morning: investigate the planet and determine if the human species still existed. Prepare the subjugation fleet, Veltar commanded his tactical officer. If there are still humans alive down there, we will complete the pacification protocols immediately. 6 Caridian warships moved into formation around Earth. Each ship was the size of a city and carried enough firepower to destroy continents. Veltar had used similar fleets to pacify dozens of worlds. This would be simple work. The fleet began, scanning Earth's surface, looking for signs of human civilization. What they found confused them. Cities were still there, but they showed no energy signatures, no radio transmissions, no spacecraft in orbit except for dead satellites. "Sir, the planet appears to be inhabited but technologically inactive," reported the sensor officer. "Population readings suggest most humans are still alive, but they have stopped using advanced technology." Veltar nodded. This was not unusual. Many species retreated into primitive lifestyles when faced with the reality of Dominion control. It was actually preferable to complete destruction. "Send the standard occupation message," he ordered. "Inform any surviving humans that they are now under Dominion protection. We will establish administrative centers in their major cities." The message was broadcast on all frequencies. Veltar expected no response or perhaps a few desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, something entirely unexpected happened. Every piece of space debris around Earth suddenly came alive. Old satellites that had been floating dead for years activated with powerful signals. Asteroids that had been drifting peacefully began moving with purpose. The space around Earth filled with activity. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures," the sensor officer reported, his voice rising with alarm. "Multiple contacts emerging from everywhere." Admiral Kyung-min watched from his hidden command center inside a hollowed asteroid as humanity's fleet revealed itself. 47 warships emerged from concealment around Earth and Mars. Each ship looked alien in design but moved with deadly human purpose. "All ships, this is Admiral Kyung Min," he broadcast on the military frequency. "Execute Operation Homecoming. Show them what we learned." Commander Tae-ho led the first attack wave. His ship, built using improved alien technology, accelerated toward the Caridian fleet at impossible speed. The aliens had never seen ships move like this. Human vessels twisted and rolled in ways that alien ships could not match. "Target their command ship first," Tae-ho ordered his weapons officer. "Let's give Ambassador Veltar our personal regards." The human weapons hit with devastating effect. Dr. Yoon-ho's improved energy systems punched through Caridian shields like they were made of paper. The aliens' defensive technology, unchanged for centuries, was useless against weapons designed specifically to counter it. On the Caridian flagship, alarms screamed throughout the ship. Veltar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The primitive humans were not only fighting back, they were winning. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Their technology was centuries behind ours." His tactical officer worked frantically at his console. "Sir, their weapons are based on our own designs, but they've been modified in ways we don't understand. Their ships are faster and more maneuverable than anything in our database." Captain Hye-jin commanded a squadron of human fighters that swarmed around the larger alien ships. Her pilots flew with an aggression that terrified the Caridian crews. Where alien pilots followed careful formations and established tactics, humans attacked from every angle at once. "Break their formation," she ordered her squadron. "Don't let them group up and coordinate their fire." The human fighters moved like angry insects, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could target them effectively. Pilot Nari led her wing in a direct assault on a Caridian cruiser, her small ship dodging between massive weapon turrets that could not turn fast enough to track her. Communications Officer Ji-woo intercepted desperate alien transmissions as she had done for 3 years. But now, instead of gathering intelligence, she was jamming their communications and feeding false information to their command systems. "Admiral, the aliens are trying to call for reinforcements," she reported to Kyung Min. "I'm blocking their long-range communications and making their short-range systems report false ship positions." This was human warfare at its finest. Not just superior technology, but superior tactics, superior adaptability, and superior motivation. The aliens were fighting to maintain control. The humans were fighting to survive. Veltar watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. 3 of his warships were already dead in space. The remaining ships were taking heavy damage from weapons that should not have existed. "Send a message to the Dominion," he ordered frantically. "Tell them the humans are not what we thought. They've become something else. Request immediate reinforcement of our entire sector fleet." But his communications officer looked up with fear in his large, dark eyes. "Sir, all our long-range transmitters have been destroyed or jammed. We cannot reach the Dominion." Commander Tae-ho's voice came over the alien communication system, speaking perfect Caridian. "Ambassador Veltar, this is Commander Tae-ho of the Human Defense Force. You gave us 3 years to prepare. We used that time well. Surrender now, and we might let some of you survive long enough to deliver a message to your Dominion." Veltar stared at the tactical display showing his fleet in ruins. In less than 2 hours, everything had changed. The primitive species he had come to pacify had become something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that turned its own weakness into strength, and its enemies' gifts into weapons. General Chang Ho stood in the captured Caridian flagship, studying the star maps that covered the alien command center walls. The battle for Earth had ended 12 hours ago. Of the 6 alien warships that had come to pacify humanity, only 1 remained intact. Its crew was now in human custody and their ship belonged to Earth. "How many worlds do they control?" Chang Ho asked Captain Hye-jin, who was examining the alien navigation systems. "According to their records, the Dominion has authority over 847 inhabited systems," she replied. "Most were conquered without resistance. The aliens would arrive, demand surrender, and the local species would submit rather than fight." Chang Ho nodded grimly. This was exactly what humanity had been expected to do. But humans had chosen a different path. Admiral Kyung-min joined them on the bridge, carrying intelligence reports from the interrogation of captured Caridian officers. The aliens had been surprisingly willing to talk once they realized their situation was hopeless. The Dominion fleet is spread thin, Kyung-min explained. They never expected resistance, so they station only small garrison forces at each world. Most of their military is focused on exploring new territories to conquer. What about their response time? Chang Ho asked. That's the interesting part, Kyung-min smiled coldly. It takes months for messages to travel between systems. The Dominion won't even know about our victory here for at least 6 weeks. And they won't be able to send reinforcements for another 3 months after that. Chang Ho studied the star map again. Dozens of red dots marked Caridian military bases and supply depots. Each one was defended by forces that had never faced real opposition. It was an opportunity that might never come again. We're going to hit them before they know what's happening, he decided. Strike fast, strike hard, and move to the next target before they can organize a response. 2 weeks later, pilot Nari led the first human attack outside the solar system. Her target was a Caridian supply depot in the Alpha Centauri system. The base was lightly defended by 2 patrol ships and a handful of fighters. Against a normal, alien attack, this would have been adequate. Against human forces, it was nothing. Nari's squadron emerged from hyperspace in a formation the aliens had never seen before. Instead of approaching in orderly lines, the human ships scattered in all directions, attacking from multiple angles simultaneously. Remember, we're not here to occupy territory. Nari broadcast to her pilots. Destroy their ships. Eliminate their supplies and get out fast. Leave them a message they won't forget. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it was over, the Caridian base was a field of wreckage, and Nari's squadron was already jumping to their next target. Behind them, they left a simple message broadcasted on all alien frequencies. You were warned to leave us alone. Similar. Attacks began happening throughout Caridian space. Captain Minseo led strikes against communication relays, cutting the aliens off from each other. Strategist Wu Jin coordinated multi-system campaigns that left enemy forces confused and scattered. The aliens had never faced this kind of warfare. For centuries, their battles had been simple affairs. Show up with superior firepower, demand surrender, and either accept submission or destroy resistance quickly. But humans fought differently. They struck without warning, used tactics that made no sense according to alien military doctrine, and disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. Commander Tae-ho commanded the assault on the Caridian industrial world of Velcaris. The planet produced weapons and ships for the Dominion fleet. Its destruction would cripple alien military production for years. Intelligence reports indicate 40,000 Caridian civilians on the planet, reported his tactical officer as they approach the world. Send them an evacuation warning, Tae-ho ordered. 24 hours to leave the planet. After that, we destroy every military facility. This was not cruelty. It was strategy. Humans had learned from studying alien tactics that the Dominion respected only strength. Mercy was seen as weakness, but calculated destruction was understood as power. The evacuation message was simple. This world produces weapons used to enslave other species. You have 24 hours to leave. After that, we will destroy every military installation on the planet. Civilian areas will be spared if you do not interfere with our mission. Most of the civilians fled. Those who remained watched from safe distances as human forces systematically destroyed every weapons factory, ship construction facility, and military base on Velcaris. The planet's industrial capacity was reduced to smoking ruins in 6 hours. Intelligence Director Sung-ah monitored alien communications from her command ship. The intercepted messages painted a picture of growing panic throughout the Dominion. Military commanders were requesting reinforcements that did not exist. Colonial governors were reporting attacks by ships that appeared from nowhere and vanished just as quickly. They're calling us ghost ships, she reported to Admiral Kyung-min. Their military doctrine has no procedures for dealing with hit-and-run tactics on this scale. The psychological impact was as important as the physical damage. For the first time in their history, the Caridians were afraid. Species that had submitted to Dominion rule for centuries began to whisper about the humans who fought back and won. On the Dominion capital world, the High Council received scattered reports of human attacks. The scale of the disaster was hard to comprehend. In just 3 months, humanity had crippled Caridian military production, destroyed dozens of bases, and demonstrated that the Dominion was not invincible. But the worst news came from intercepted human communications. The attacks on Caridian space were not random raids. They were systematic preparation for something much larger. The humans were not just fighting back. They were preparing to bring the war to the Dominion's heart. The Great Hall of the Galactic Dominion Council had never been so quiet. Representatives from dozens of alien species sat in stunned silence as holographic displays showed the devastation across Caridian space. In 6 months, humanity had destroyed over 300 military installations, captured 50 worlds, and eliminated entire Dominion fleets. High Counselor Zarthek of the Dominion leadership stood before the assembly, his forearms trembling as he read the latest reports. The human forces have now reached the inner territories. They have bypassed our defensive lines completely and are striking at targets we believed were impossible to reach. Admiral Kyung-min walked slowly through the corridors of the captured Dominion fortress world of Karvatis. This planet had been the Caridians' primary military command center, coordinating their fleets across the galaxy. Now it belonged to humanity, and with it came access to every Dominion military secret. "Sir, we've finished downloading their central database," reported Communications Officer Ji-woo. "We now have complete intelligence on every Dominion world, fleet position, and defensive capability." But Kyung-min was more interested in the reports from engineer Jae-sung's special project team. For the past year, humanity's best scientists had been working on something that would make their previous victories seem small in comparison. "Their Starkiller network is ready for deployment," Jae-sung announced as he joined the Admiral. "We've positioned the devices in 17 key systems. Each one can destabilize a star and destroy everything in that solar system. This was humanity's final weapon. Not just superior ships or better tactics, but the ability to destroy entire worlds if necessary. The technology was based on alien science, but improved with human engineering until it became something no species in the galaxy had ever imagined." Commander Tae-ho received his orders while leading the siege of the Dominion's second-largest military base. The message was simple: proceed to the capital world. It's time to end this. President Dong-woo had aged considerably in the 4 years since first contact. The man who had once led a peaceful Earth now commanded military forces that spanned half the galaxy. But the weight of leadership had not broken him. Instead, it had forged him into something harder. "Prepare my ship," he told his aide. "I'm going to deliver our final message personally." The journey to the Dominion capital took 2 weeks. During that time, human forces continued their advance. Every day brought news of more alien surrenders, more worlds abandoned by Caridian, defenders who had lost the will to fight. Captain Hee-jin commanded the escort fleet that accompanied President Dong-woo's ship to the capital world. Around them flew the most advanced vessels humanity had ever built. Each ship represented technology that had been impossible just 5 years earlier. "The Dominion Council has agreed to meet with us," she reported. "They're requesting terms for surrender." "There will be no surrender," Dong-woo replied firmly. "There will be justice." The Dominion capital was a massive world covered in crystal cities that reached toward the sky like frozen lightning. Billions of aliens lived here, representing hundreds of species that had been conquered over the centuries. Many of them had never seen their homeworlds, born into slavery that they believed was the natural order of the universe. In the Great Council chamber, representatives from across the galaxy waited nervously. Most had never seen a human before. The stories they had heard seemed impossible. How could a single species that had been contacted only 5 years ago now threaten the entire galactic order? President Dong-woo entered the chamber flanked by Admiral Kyung-min and Commander Tae-ho. Behind them walked Dr. Mi-young, still serving as humanity's voice to the alien worlds. The humans wore simple military uniforms, but their presence filled the enormous room. "You requested this meeting," Dongwu began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems. "So let me make our position clear. The Galactic Dominion is finished. Your reign of conquest and subjugation ends today." High Counselor Zarthek stepped forward, his alien features twisted with desperate hope. "Surely we can reach some accommodation. The Dominion has ruled for thousands of years. We can share power, establish territories." "No," Dongwu cut him off. "You had your chance for coexistence. When you first came to Earth, we offered you friendship. You demanded submission. You gave us one warning, and then you expected us to surrender our freedom. We gave you silence in return, and you mistook it for compliance." Commander Taeho activated a holographic display that showed the positions of Jae-sung's Starkiller devices throughout Dominion space. The alien representatives gasped as they realized what they were seeing. "These devices can destroy entire solar systems," Taeho explained calmly. "We have them positioned at 17 key worlds, including this one. They are connected to a dead man switch. If anything happens to our leadership, if any human world is attacked, if you attempt to rebuild your military forces, these devices will activate automatically." The chamber erupted in panicked voices, speaking dozens of alien languages. Some representatives begged for mercy. Others demanded to know how humans had developed such weapons. A few simply sat in stunned silence. Admiral Kyung-min stepped forward. "For centuries, your species preyed on others because you believed strength was the only law that mattered. You showed no mercy to the worlds you conquered. You gave them no choice but submission or death. Now you face the same choice." President Dongwu looked around the chamber at the faces of species who had ruled the galaxy through fear and violence. "We are not like you. We will not slaughter billions for the crime of following bad leaders. But make no mistake, the old order is dead. The galaxy will be rebuilt according to principles of freedom and cooperation, not conquest and domination. The age of the Dominion is over. The age of humanity has begun.